Today on the All Dodgers podcast, we are talking about the Dodgers' current second base situation. And yes, I'm going to call it a situation. And no, this is not a video going to bash on Gavin Lux, because if you guys been watching me, you know I love my boy Gavin Lux. But this is more about the Platoon situation. This is more about Chris Taylor and his future with the team, especially when it comes to a playoff roster spot this October. So we'll dive into all of that and a whole lot more on this edition of the All Dodgers podcast. All right, before we get into it, I'm going to tell you two things. First thing I'm going to do is tell you to consider giving this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Those are two things that really help out the channel. Hit the notification bell. That's another way that you could be notified of things right away that happen when they happen on the channel. I think that's how it works. Sometimes YouTube's a little weird. But anyways, also if you guys want to listen to the show on podcast form, we're on all the platforms. Check us out there. Leave a review, leave a rating if possible. The second thing I got to tell you is BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything footy ball. So BetOnline, I don't know why I said footy ball. Just go with it. I can say foosball because it's for the devil. But anyways, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while games are being played. And if you think you know your stuff, you can get in on their $200,000 mega contest. It's so much contest, it's mega, and you can pick 5 games against the spread every week for a chance to win prizes and a share of $200K. If the game is over, if your game is done, if all the games are done, head on over to their online casino, get in on a game of blackjack, get in on a game of poker, unwind with over 150 slot games available right there at your fingertips. Head to the website today, get in on the action. Bet online, the game starts here. All right, so there he is my guy. That's producer Kevin at Skinner7 Kevin, if you're nasty. And yeah, we got to talk about a whole lot of Chris Taylor, a whole lot of Gavin Lux, second base position, what's it called, postseason roster stuff. I don't know. I'm not setting this up well, but an important thing is, Kevbo, I'm going to call you. You watch a lot of these Dodgers, I assume, and you also are very, you watch online, we'll say. The more you watch the Dodgers these days, it feels like I'm noticing something, especially on the Twitter, on the X, man. People are just done with Chris Taylor. I think we need to talk Chris Taylor a little bit. And there's been people who have defended the man. There's been points in the season where he's kind of, maybe had a little bit of a resurgence here and there, but right now, absolutely not. I'm going to show this tweet. I got this tweet on the screen here from the guys over at Honestly Dodgers. Resonated with me. You and I talked about this earlier in the day, which is why we're talking about it now on this video. But it says Gavin Lux, the Dodgers seem to win. It's a lazy little line, but it's fun for me. Dodgers win when Gavin Lux is in the lineup, and they don't win when he's not in the lineup. So we'll get back to that in a little bit. But Chris Taylor, simply said, the numbers are not good. What's he hitting now at this point? You're my numbers guy. He's hitting what do you got?
He's slashing 176, 279, 264 slug, which is good for a 544 OPS.
Nearly striking out nearly 32% of the time, and at this point in the season, like with the roster they have, the guys they have around, to me, this is my opinion. I'm wondering if you differ on this. He doesn't add the same positional value, the versatility that he's added in the past, as this team is currently constructed. And it's my argument is it's gonna get even worse when you get to the postseason. But this is a guy who's supposed to be able to crush lefties. He's not doing that either on the season, hitting 180 with a 500 OPS. So you can't hit lefties, can't hit righties, couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, and isn't playing the best defense or the most important defense around the field. What is the point of this man right now? He should be able to kind of pick up and run with a platoon for Gavin Lux. There's another guy who absolutely cannot hit lefties, and I'll let you spit on this in just a second here, but he's not taking any sort of bull by the horns and running away with that job. It's beating a dead horse that's already been dead for the last 3 seasons, but CT3 has little business playing for the Dodgers right now, and he has zero business having a playoff roster spot next month. Thoughts, takes, where you at with CT3?
It's not going to be, this might not be popular, but I think they got to keep running him out there against left-handed pitching. As bad as Chris Taylor's been, Gavin Lux is, I think, arguably the worst hitter in baseball against left-handed pitching with like so many plate appearances, or among batters with so many plate appearances against left-handed pitching. So Lux is just, he can't do it. The one thing he can do is hit with wrist. So, at least he has that going for him. The way I look at it is it's kind of like you talked about it. It's all about the postseason. And there, in my opinion, you have three guys fighting for two spots. You have Andy Pages, Kike Hernandez, and Chris Taylor all fighting for the last two spots on that roster. And the Dodgers need to see which of those three guys will make the roster.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think Pages is a lock at this point. He is by far and away their best hitter against left-handed pitching, especially off the bench.
Yes.
Like if you just take his season numbers, he's the best left-hand or best right-handed option. So it's Chris Taylor or it's Kike. And the only way you're going to find that out is if you just keep running him out there. And if Chris Taylor can't come up big, like he's going to have to make the most of pinch hitting spots. He's going to have to make the most of, playing like maybe twice a week against a left-handed starter. It's not all that often. I think I think the Dodgers are going to face Chris Sale coming up here. So he'll probably get the start there. He's going to have to come up big, especially against, if any of the left-handed pitchers the Braves throw at them, because there's a decent to fair chance the Dodgers face the Braves in the postseason. And if he comes up goose egg, they probably leave him off the roster. So it sucks. It's hard. The roster, the moves they've made have basically built this team to sustain 1 to 2 complete black holes in the lineup. And if Christopher Armand Taylor is one of them, for the sake of finding out, I've learned his middle name, for the sake of finding out if he's got a postseason roster spot, they're going to have to take advantage of it, because there's, at this point, Max Muncy should just start left, right, doesn't matter. I'm done with it. He's been a lot.
Yeah, he's been a lot better since coming off
a lot
injury.
Better.
Yeah.
A lot better. So you got to figure it out. Kike, CT.
Well, Kike, I think Kike, he's going to be one of those guys. He's a lock. I think his ability to play everywhere better, even though, like, one of the things I had in the back of my mind when talking about this, and right now we're going to get back to that tweet from earlier and the whole Gavin Lux situation and all that at second base. I in that Cubs series, both Kike and Chris Taylor booted a ball at second base that led to some Chicago, some Cubbies runs there. But they haven't had a whole, an abundance of opportunity at second base this year, where they've both played a lot of second base in years past. But this year, more often than not, it's been Gavin Lux's spot. So again, let's get back to this tweet here for a second. Very lazily, we can say that right now, that again, the Dodgers win when Gavin Lux is in the game, and they don't when he's not. But so bad is Gavin Lux versus left-handed pitching. What is it, like a 46 weighted runs created plus versus lefties?
I took I did it for the last month, just because, like, what have you done for me lately situation.
Yeah.
He's got a 10 WRC plus.
Oh, it's
only 10
got worse?
It's only 10 plate appearances, or it's 11 plate appearances. It's 11 plate appearances, excuse me, but he's got one hit.
They've absolutely buried him, which is the right call for sure. Yeah. But like, his defensive value, though, like, if you have enough other spots that are doing something, and these other dudes, Kike, CT3, that are getting in the lineup, they're not doing much of anything. I'd rather take that defense at second base. That's where I'm at. I'm kind of at with Lux. I would much strongly prefer him be platooned. Yes, Gavin Lux needs to be platooned, but there's no obvious platoon partners with Chris Taylor not stepping up and grabbing the bull by the horns. With Kike Hernandez, kind of, the glasses era has waned for Kike, even though he's been decent in the second half. 264, 736 OPS since August 1st, but so far in September hasn't been as good. And then again, if he's going to be the guy who's mostly starting at second base versus lefties, well, they need to start getting one or the other of those guys all of the reps at second base over the next 2 weeks before the end of this season. I'm going to throw it out there again for fun, even though they 1,000% would not do it. The only platoon that makes sense to me on paper, the numbers tell you, they scream that Mookie should move in and play second base.
Agreed.
And Andy Pages, who is electric versus lefties, 330 batting average, 846 versus lefties, 846 OPS versus lefties this year. And like you alluded to earlier, actual power threat off the bench. So if he's not starting against righties, he's somebody who can come in and potentially be a game changer late in the game. But he also strikes out not terrible. It's 25% strikeout percentage, 7% better than Chris Taylor, mind you. But if Mookie moves in, and I understand they are 1,000% not going to ask this of Mookie, but if you want your best possible 1 through 9 offense, it starts with Mookie Betts at second base and Andy Pages in right field. Chris Taylor, though, do you think this team will be smart enough if Kevin Kiermaier, of those three guys between CT, Kiermaier, and Pages, if you're saying Pages is a lock, which I love to hear that, I absolutely love to hear that, and I agree, and I hope they agree, because I think they also love Kevin Kiermaier, then there's just no point for Chris Taylor, in my unhumble opinion. Do you think he'll be the guy who's the odd man out?
Oh, absolutely. I think, and I've been on the show, the live stream. If you guys haven't tuned in, tune in. I've been on here saying that I think this is the year for like hard truths for this team. I think this is a year where Andrew Friedman and Doc can sit down and say, hey, look around. This is the roster we put together, and you're just not one of the best 26 we've got. I think they might have to have that conversation with Bobby Miller, Walker Buehler, maybe. Like no matter. They're either going to have this on the pitching side, and they're going to have it on the hitting side as well.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
So there's no avoiding the conversation. They're going to have to meet it head on, and I don't think they're going to shy away from it. I think there's a situation where I know Doc likes his guys, and Chris Taylor is one of his guys, but when Chris Taylor can't hit left-handed pitching, so his value really comes down to can he pinch run, but Kevin Kiermaier is a better pinch runner and can play better defensive center field. Where is that value, like you mentioned? So I think in short, they're going to have that conversation because this team is too talented, and with the pitching kind of faltering, Yamamoto looked great, but a lot of the starters what are you going to get from Glasnow when he comes back?
Yeah. What are they going to do with Kershaw?
Exactly. I was going to say, like, you don't really have a fourth starter. If you need one, you really need your best 13 position players. And at this juncture, Chris Taylor is not one of those 13.
And another thing that makes, I feel, helps make him obsolete for this roster to where they only need one of the other kind of, we'll call them true super utility guys, is there's another kind of sneaky super utility guy with Tommy Edman, who's going to be starting in center field. But if you get to a point where, pinch hitting or the game moves along and it forces you to make a move, Tommy Edman can move into the infield. He's played, I think he's won a Gold Glove as a second baseman. He's played some really good short. He can play some third base for you if you need him. And then Kiermaier all of a sudden has an actual value to this team as a true center fielder, and Pages can play the corners or whatever it may be. Or again, I'll throw it out there, something that would really help this team as well is Mookie Betts being able to move back and forth in the infield and in the outfield. But that's what we wanted to talk about a little bit here today, giving you folks some content here on the YouTube, on the podcast side of things. Well, I want to know what people have to think in the comments. I'm sure, assuming Kevin does as well. So sound off in the comments. What do you think this team will do? Do you think Chris Taylor 1,000% needs to be off of this roster? And do you think Dave Roberts will pull any sort of card that he has to have his guy there? It's worth noting they don't just send him home. It's not done. He's going to be around. He'll be in the taxi squad. Yeah. He'll be part of Stay Hot camp. So it's not like if the Dodgers go out and win a World Series, he's not going to get a ring. And maybe he finds a way to have some sort of importance down the road. You really hope he doesn't, but I hearken back to 2017 playoffs. There was a little guy by the name of Charlie Culberson who had to play shortstop for the NLCS because Corey Seager had to miss that series. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Also, do you want to see Gavin Gavin Lux starting every day at second base, or is Kike Hernandez the answer there? I am Clint Pasillas. Find me as Real FRG on the social medias. That guy over there is how I'm supposed to point. That is Kevin Skinner at Producer Kevin, or at Skinner7 Kevin on the X, on the Twitter, whatever. Give him a follow. And All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. I got to make sure I get that in there. I was going to tell you, if you're looking for a different way to support the show, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg, $5 a month. You can help support the show. You can help get Kevin some more booze, or maybe some lighting. I don't know. You could do something like that. Lighting. I'm bringing it up again for fun. We also have a Discord as well that you get through Patreon or through our YouTube members. Click the join button somewhere around our heads. Again, $5 a month, much less than the price of a Dodger dog. But all that said, we'll see you on the next one.